tune in at the end of the video for a special song number. Or you could just skip there since you've already given me a view. I don't know, it doesn't matter.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I like Mario. Wow, look how special I am. Even if you're not super into gaming or are only a casual Nintendo fan, it's hard not to admire the Red Plumber. His great lineup of games, his decades-long legacy, his movies not so much, but still. For me personally, while I only got into gaming a few years ago when I got my Switch, I've had experience with Mario before then. Most notably on the DS with the classic game Mario 06, aka New Super Mario Bros. This game was my shit. I have loads of nostalgia for it, as do millions of others. In fact, out of all games I've ever played, this one was probably the most formative to my current gaming tastes. Yup. Now, I wasn't like good at it or anything back then and had to have my sister beat certain levels for me, but I didn't care. I sunk hours into this sucker. I loved it so much that when I lost the cartridge, I saved up $40 just so I can go out and buy a new one. God, remember when Nintendo games were only $40? Good times. While the online perception of this game seems to have been tainted a bit by the fatigue caused by all its sequels, I still think it holds up to this day. I absolutely loved revisiting it on my totally not modded 3DS, and I think it's about time I show it some appreciation just in time for its 20th anniversary. So I'm gonna rank every level in New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS, baby. Much like my Tropical Freeze ranking, this should be a good way to dip my feet into doing more gaming videos on this channel. This will be a little different than that ranking, however, seeing as how the levels in this game are much shorter. There isn't quite as much to talk about with each stage individually, which is why I guess nobody else on YouTube has done this despite how iconic the game is. But I don't care, I'm gonna find a way to do it anyway. This is going to be an even more opinionated list than the last one, since the simplicity of the levels means a lot of the ranking comes down to personal preference. And the list is much more interchangeable, with a lot of levels being very close in quality for me. There were about a dozen times while making this where a level would shoot up or down like 10 spots on the ranking. Because of that, I will be splitting them into less tiers, and the segments will be shorter. But I think it will still be fun to go through this game and its 80 stages, separating the best ones from the worst ones. Without further ado, let's go! God, that was terrible.
Mamma mia!
While a lot of levels in this game are really close in quality and thus pretty interchangeable in the ranking, I am pretty confident in my opinion that the worst out of all 80 of them is 8-Tower 2. This shit is genuine ass. I don't find snake block levels all that fun to begin with, as they're just annoying auto-scrollers disguised as a platform challenge, and this one offers next to nothing to keep this concept interesting across the entire level. In fact, it offers negative interest, because when you get to this big open area with no obstacles, there's a full minute of the snake block just fucking around trying to get you to fall off. Yes, it's the second to last level. It should be hard, but this is less so difficult and more so cheap. The star coins aren't satisfying to collect, the rolling spiky balls just add extra annoyance. And I hope you got through all of this whilst keeping the fire flower on hand, because if you mess up in the Bowser Jr. fight, you're doing the very long second section of the level all over again. Yippee! An absolutely miserable time and a pretty shit penultimate level that I hope to never play again.
Now it's raining!
Thanks.
6-Castle is a level that feels specifically engineered to piss me off. This is purely a personal thing, but I hate platforming on these horizontally moving slabs. Your movement combined with the slab's movement just feels unbearably awkward. And they all seem to move at their own separate pace, making perfectly lining your jumps up pretty annoying. You'll see throughout this video that I'm more drawn to the levels that put up a fair fight, rather than just fall in the lava and die. And this is easily the worst of that type of level when factoring in the annoying platforming. Jumping up on the slabs vertically to reach this door isn't much more fun than the beginning section. But the thing that kills the level for me is the Monty Mole fight. I know a lot of people like this boss, but I am not one of them. But what's so bad about it, you may ask? It's hard to judge most of the bosses in this game since most of them are over within the blink of an eye, and this one seems like it's going to be the same way, but with the cool tank and bullet builds thrown in to keep things interesting. And yeah, for hits 1 and 2, it's not so bad. But once the tank grows to 3 sections, getting on top during the 2-second intervals Monty is vulnerable is miserable. The shooters have this weird hitbox where they constantly bounce you in the opposite direction. Maybe it's just a skill issue, but this annoys me and makes this easily my least favorite fight in the game, alongside the equally annoying level it takes to get here. Next.
Halloween! Woo! Halloween!
8-1 is a level that feels all over the place, and is a pretty poor introduction to the final world. I get upping the difficulty to show players what they're in for, but this just feels poorly designed more than anything. Spamming crows everywhere does not make for a compelling level, and unless you've played this level a million times and know the locations by heart, you're going to get hit by them. There's no time to breathe or line up your jumps because you'll just get swarmed by these stinking birds if you do. And that's on top of them placing these pumpkin enemies everywhere, as well as a couple boos for good measure. If you're playing this for the first time, it's annoying, but if you've somehow gotten the entire layout memorized, you can get through it in like 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm sorry, this one's a dud for me. I will say that I like the background because it reminds me of Angry Birds Seasons.
What do you mean they hit the second tower?
6-Tower 2 has a similar problem to the castle in this world, in that it's near impossible to get a good momentum going. I usually like platforming on these conveyor belts, but I think they only really work with horizontal levels. Combining these with vertical movement as you climb the tower just feels off. This issue, plus this annoying spike top segment, make this one kinda a chore to play. It's not long or annoying enough to really get under my skin, but it's never one I'm excited to go back to.
A f***ing wheel doesn't.
What's worse than a fallen lava and die level? A falling grape juice and die level. Okay, well most of the World 4 levels do a fine job with this, 4-A is easily the worst because these wheel platform things just aren't fun to jump on as you move across the poison. Nor is swinging on these vines, bro thinks he's Donkey Kong. At least there's a hidden area which lets you skip the longest and most annoying segment of the level, which is pretty neat. But is the level really that good if you want to get it over with as quickly as possible rather than actually play it? I don't think so.
Remember the snake block?
Okay, let's see what the next level is. 7-Castle is definitely more manageable than the other snake block level in this game, but I'd still be lying if I said I found it all that fun. At least the snake block seems to be a bit longer in this one, and the platforming is a bit more forgiving, but there are still long stretches where not much happens, and even when there are obstacles, they're rather awkwardly placed and best damage boosted through. Plus, this final star coin is borderline sadistic. And this fight certainly is a fight. Yeah, that's it. Moving on. I'm definitely not the first one to point this out, but World 6 is really inconsistent, isn't it? There's like 3 mountain stages out of 11 levels, and the rest is just a jumbled assortment of themes. 6-B, for example, feels like a scrapped World 5 level, and maybe it should have stayed scrapped. These yellow piss candy cane things feel even worse to swing on than the vines were, and there are ice physics everywhere to add to the fun. Oh joy. At least we see the big purple mushrooms, I like those things. And sliding on ice can be fun in some areas. It's not an awful level, but there are definitely others that have similar concepts and apply them in a much more fun way.
How big is this ocean?
Time for our first underwater level. Wow, I can't believe these didn't rank very high. The worst of these for me is probably 6-5. I mean, look at this.
It's nothing.
This one doesn't even feel like it's trying to bring anything new to the table and just screams, we needed a filler stage to give this world some more levels. I mean, there are whirlpools, I guess, but they only start showing up more than halfway through the level and don't really make for compelling hazards. There are also these green fish that lock onto you for about 1 second and then just stop. Thrilling. Most of the level is just empty space with not much going on, and it would be much more at home in World 1 rather than 6. It honestly has about as much substance as... Okay, that's a bit mean. 4-3 ranks slightly higher on the water level scale, solely because it has the central hazard tying the whole thing together, that being these giant unagi. I mean, it's something, I guess. They're kind of fun to maneuver around, but since they're so large and take up so much of the screen, it doesn't really leave much room to make a compelling layout besides them. If this was more like a Mario Wonder level, where they took the unagi concept and did a bunch of crazy stuff with it, rather than just having them swim to the left, this one definitely would have been more interesting. As is, I don't know, at least the brick breaking sound effect is satisfying.
What the cuss? Where did this giant fence come from? We had a master plan.
Okay, whatever you do, never try and play 3-Tower on an emulator with a Switch Joy-Con. I don't know what it is, but clinging onto these gates with that controller feels unbearable and has caused me quite a bit of trouble. Playing this level on actual Nintendo hardware though, I mean, it is better, but not by much. Most of the level is just climbing upwards with the only obstacles being Koopas, and while it's thankfully optional, this star coin with the red bricks is annoying as hell. I guess it's interesting how this level has multiple different paths to get to the boss to begin with, but it doesn't really have much else to elevate it much higher.
Are you not entertained?
And now it's time for another water level. How many of these are there? 1-A gets a bit of a pass solely because it is the first one, meaning it can get away with a simpler and more barren level design compared to the stages later in the game. But with that said, the level design is still simple and barren, almost making it feel like a light version of that Unagi level we just played. I do like the sharks because of how out of place they look in this game's art style, but those and the Cheep Cheeps are really all this level has to offer. Fine enough, I suppose, but nobody's favorite level in this game, except maybe Yinsed's. 3-C is a weird one because you can get entirely different experiences based on how you play it. If you have the Fire Flower and kill the Spike Bass immediately, the level is just kind of empty with not much of note going on. But if you don't kill the Spike Bass, you get something slightly more interesting, but still kinda annoying. I just don't think this is an interesting enough foe to base multiple levels on, and this one in particular feels like filler with how short and basic it is. The last star coin is pretty cool, I will give it that, but otherwise, meh. 2-2 is another one where the experience you get out of it depends entirely on how you play it. If you don't kill the Lakitus and decide to go for all the star coins, yeah, this level is hell. And if you decide to just ignore the Lakitus and speed through the level, you'll be done in like 30 seconds. I guess I appreciate the option to just get the level over with rather than having it be unbearably long, but there's not really much else here to make it a super compelling stage on its own merits.
Funny!
And now we've reached our first ghost house, and I guess first is the worst because my least favorite is the one in World 3. In general, I'm not the biggest fan of the ghost houses, at least not in this game. Removing checkpoints, any way to see your progress, and spamming undefeatable boos everywhere has just never been fun to me. And this one is the weakest because it really doesn't have much else, aside from these stair portions, the second of which is annoyingly tricky with how perfect your timing needs to be. The star coins are satisfying to collect in this one, and I guess it's cool how the blue shell is useful for something, but yeah, not for me.
Oh yeah, it's a f***ing dinosaur. I've never seen that before.
Oh great, another auto-scroller in disguise. 4-6 is a level where you ride on Dory, and while this gimmick is fine for a short section of a bigger level, I don't really know if it's enough to carry an entire stage. Trying to keep up with Dory as you platform on land can be kind of fun, and this secret area is really satisfying to get to. But otherwise, there's not enough going on here to make this an especially fun or interesting level. I do need to ask though, how the fuck are you supposed to get all these red coins? Nintendo, you bastards.
That cloud stage, getting those red coins.
7-7 kinda has the same problem as 4-A, except this one is an auto-scroller, oh joy. Obviously, I do prefer this to 4-A. I like the use of donut blocks and the mix of horizontal and vertical platforming, which you don't really see in a lot of this game's levels. But otherwise, it is another one of those fall and die levels, complete with the return of the wheel platforms. They're more manageable here, but I still don't find them all that fun. Paired with the auto-scrolling, this one is just kinda meh for me. There's some fun to be had, but not enough to make me want to replay it. Props to this guy I found who did it with the mini mushroom though, he's a true Chad. While a bit better than its tower counterpart, 3-Castle is still one of the weaker castles in this game for me. The spiky dicks are kinda fun to avoid, but most of the level is this game of stop and go that isn't too terribly interesting. I think it comes down to the matter of horizontal versus vertical platforming. Having to avoid the spiky dicks as you move horizontally just slows down the pace of the level more than anything. I like the big boy womp, and the star coins in this one are fun to nab, especially that last one. Plus the giant fish boss is pretty satisfying to jump on. But these unfortunately don't save the bulk of the stage from just being kinda okay. 7-1 feels like the most basic possible introduction to a sky world. Yeah, the first levels of most worlds are really simple, but this one is just a tad too plain. I don't find jumping between these moving platforms all that satisfying, and they don't do enough with the sky theme to make it stand out from the others, apart from my favorite gimmick of fall and die. The secret area is really cool though, even if it has those yellow piss candy canes that I hate. And the second half of the level is definitely more enjoyable than the first due to keeping you on your toes more. But still, definitely not one of my favorites. Kirby is definitely winning when it comes to sky levels.
And if I ever get my hands on a blue, he'll be sleeping with the fishes.
2-A is basically the exact same level as 3-C, except this one has spin blocks, the most awesome things ever. So because of that, it gets to rank a whopping 7 spots higher. Avoiding the spike bass is more fun in this one because of the aforementioned spin blocks, and how there are multiple long stretches with no ground, so it feels like you're more in the spike bass's territory and need to be careful. Other than that though, not much about this one is different enough to make me like it that much more than its contemporary. Points for not being a water level though, I guess.
Going down. going up.
While I'm usually an advocate for mushroom levels, 5-4 leaves a bit to be desired. The gimmick of mushrooms that either go up or down depending on the color is cool, but they don't really do enough with this to keep it fresh for the entire duration of the stage. Maybe if there were more mushroom colors that moved at different speeds or something, that could have been more interesting. As is, a lot of the level feels like just spamming the jump button so you can remain towards the middle of the screen. And it's also another dreaded auto-scroller when it really didn't need to be. What is so wrong with letting us take the level at our own pace, huh? It does make the star coin positions more interesting at least, so there's that. Not a bad level, but it can't really hold the candles to the much better mushroom levels in this game.
Balloon, you're so trustworthy.
World 4's Ghost House is a bit better than the one in World 3, solely because there's more to it. The balloon boos make for an interesting obstacle, as you gotta manipulate their position as well as size, which makes for some fun challenges. These rotator things are neat too. I'm surprised they didn't return in the 3DS game, as they would have been perfect for the gimmick of that system. Or maybe they did? I don't know, that game is forgettable. What holds this level back is just how short it is if you know what you're doing. That can be said about a lot of levels in this game, but I at least expect a bit more from a Ghost House. The whole stage is just 2 rooms, and you can get it done in about 60 seconds if you know the layout. There's nothing awful about this one, but it's just too short to rank any higher.
That's quicksand.
6-A is a desert level where the main gimmick is Lakitus throwing shit at you. Haven't seen that one before. This one is more interesting, however, as it's harder to cheese it by just simply holding the run button for a minute straight. There's tornadoes that are fun to spin in and out of, plus the quicksand makes the level a bit harder to traverse. Legend has it, if you sink into a very specific patch, you can find a $19 Fortnite card. There's not much else to this one to justify ranking it that much higher than 2-2, but at least this one isn't over in the blink of an eye. 6-6 is really disappointing to me because the first half is actually really fun. The spin blocks are like the epicest thing ever in every level they show up in, and it's no different here. You get a ton of room to fly around, and crushing all these blocks is really satisfying. The secret star coin area is pretty neat as well. But then you get to the second half of the level where you enter a pipe and shoot up, then you enter another pipe and shoot up, then you enter another. Shooting from pipes is cool and all, but it doesn't have the same fun factors spinning around in the air. And this is the entire second chunk of this already pretty short level. All in all, it's okay, but definitely not the standout level it easily could have been. But hey, at least it has chain chomps. Okay, here's a concept for a level. What if there were paratroopas? Yeah, that's basically 7-6 in a nutshell. Not much else really defines this one, other than the paratroopas being spammed everywhere. I mean, the first half of the level does have mushrooms, but the second doesn't for some reason. Whatever, just having a single enemy spammed everywhere throughout the level kinda makes this feel like a lazy filler stage. But I don't know, their movement patterns do make them fun to avoid, even if you're absolutely fucked if you're down to 1 hit point. Doing this level without a fire flower is not easy, believe me. Decent enough stage, if a bit too basic to rank any higher.
You got it set to M for mini.
I'll say right now that I'm pretty biased towards World 1 and its levels, considering I've probably played them about 700 times throughout my life, but my nostalgia kinda wears thin by 1-4. There's nothing wrong with it per se, aside from this annoying paratroopa, but nothing here stands out either. You could get away with that if this were the first or second stage, but being after the first tower makes me expect a tad bit more. The level really lacks an identity outside of introducing the mini mushroom, which in fairness does get a pretty fun area dedicated to it. Otherwise though, it's pretty standard stuff, and isn't going to be near the top of anyone's ranking.
In 5-3, you're on a raft and you have to avoid the incoming cheap shot.
In terms of pure underwater levels, 3-1 is one of the better ones in the game, even if that doesn't say much. I mean, instead of small cheap cheeps, we get big cheap cheeps, in addition to small cheap cheeps. That's cool, right? In fairness, it does make this one more fun to traverse, since there are fewer large chunks of boring empty space. Plus, in the second half of the level, you get sheep chumps, the epicest enemy in existence. Does all this make it a top tier level? No, are you joking? But in terms of water levels, there are definitely worse, even if there are also better ones, which we'll be getting to.
That's so nice.
2-6 may be another fall and die level with no checkpoint, and it is a bit barren in the grand scheme of this game, but I think the piranha plants add just enough spice to keep this one afloat. It's cool how there are multiple flying platforms that bring them on and off from the one that you're on. Yeah, you can just kill everything with a fire flower, making the level ridiculously easy, but have you considered that killing piranha plants is fun? As is shooting them out of this pipe. It's a shame this is the only time this mechanic is used in the entire game. So a surprisingly decent stage that I don't mind too much despite the nature of.
And we can do that
By building a Ferris wheel, of course.
World 2's tower starts off a bit too slow for my liking, with the wait to jump between these spinning platforms being pretty tedious. Let's just say this is absolutely no match for the majesty of Windmill Hills. I do like these rotating square things though, those are pretty fun. But this section is also a bit short, and I wish we got to see more types of rotating shapes implemented into the level design, especially since these are way more interesting than what the first section offered. Overall though, it's not a bad tower, I just wanted a bit more from it. Oh, and the star coins can kiss my ass.
Spiders, 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 spiders.
Okay, I know I said that I consider spamming enemies everywhere to be lazy level design, but you know what? I don't mind it when it's a less common enemy. 8-4's entire gimmick may be just scuttlebugs raining from the sky, seemingly in timed intervals based on where you are, which can make it a bit annoying, but it does add some fun challenge. Plus, jumping on these guys is much more fun compared to the paratroopas, and the height you get from these jumps is pretty sick. So I can get behind this. Now, this level unfortunately also has those stupid horizontally moving platforms that I hate, and a secret mini mushroom room for some reason. Of all the levels you could have put this in, man. But I think the bulk of the stage is enjoyable enough.
Intergalactic proton-powered electrical tentacled advertising droids.
Okay, is it just me, or have we already gone through like half of World 3 on this list? Actually, no, I'm checking right now, and there were 5 levels from this world in C tier, so technically we've gone through more than half. Damn, I guess that's what you get for not having any beach levels. Anywho, 3-2 is the first World 3 level on this list that I would actually say that I like. First of all, it has mushrooms, so it's instantly peak. Sure, the movement patterns on these ones aren't too exciting, but I like mushrooms, so shut up. And we got some fun sections where you have to try and stay on the mushrooms as they shake around like a mental patient in a straitjacket. Although this second one at the end maybe goes on a bit too long for my liking. Still though, a decent level, even if it doesn't really go far beyond that.
I get so tilted.
7-2 is kind of like a more interesting version of 2-6, mainly because the level feels less empty and you actually have control over the platform you're on, rather than the whole thing feeling automated. It's fun to try and move the platform so you don't hit any paratroopas, made even more interesting by how this is a wraparound level. Sure, it's nowhere near as interesting as the other wraparound level in this game, but I don't know, it's something. Unfortunately, this is another one where the gimmick causes the level to have a fixed speed, and it's just a bit too slow for my taste. It starts to feel repetitive after a while, with this being another level that just spams a single enemy. I think other flying enemies thrown in here would have helped this one stand out. It's solid, but not one I'm dying to replay.
Ballistic Squid, you're the Kraken?
3-3 may be another water level, but I definitely got a fair amount of enjoyment out of this one compared to most of the others. I mean, this one has bloopers. Sure, they're annoying in Mario Kart, but here, I think their movement patterns make the level more interesting compared to the standard Cheep Cheeps. That, paired with the pipes blowing you around, make this one kinda enjoyable. Plus, I like the star coin placements and the secret area, which has so many coins you'd think it came from the 3DS game. Ultimately, it is still a bland water level, but at least it has more going on compared to the ones that I have ranked lower. Okay, so I think 8-3 is my favorite pure underwater level in the game. I don't know, I'm not gonna bother checking the 47 levels I have left to go. Feel free to hit me with actually when you reach the end of the video. Anyway, this one has what most of the other water levels don't, that being some form of challenge that prevents the level from just being mindlessly swimming around. It's definitely a more realized version of that Unagi level from earlier, by having the big one chase you throughout the entire portion past the checkpoint. Along with the other fish in the way and the pipes you use to propel yourself forward, it's a decently engaging chase. Maybe it could have used a few more obstacles or enemies, but I guess I should just be grateful 80% of the level isn't just open space. Swimming is still never going to be as fun as regular platforming in this game, but I respect a level that's making the most out of a bad situation.
Boo. Haunted house.
World 7's Ghost House is another one where it doesn't really have much value if you've already played it and know what you're doing. If you know where to go and which door to pick, this level takes about 30 seconds. But trying to judge it fairly, on its own, I think it's a pretty decent stage. All 5 rooms feel unique, and I like the squishy jello stuff.
Peace.
Plus, the final P-switch section is pretty fun no matter which way you go. This still isn't a mind-blowing level, and maybe it would have ranked higher if the doors were randomized each time you play, rather than the bottom right being the correct door every time. But compared to the ghost houses in Worlds 3 or 4, at least it feels like there's a bit more to this one, making it fun to explore.
Looks like a Donkey Kong house.
5-Tower is a level that I really hated for a while, mainly because this is another one that feels off when you're playing it on an emulator with a Joy-Con, and also because it's one where you really have to know what you're doing. If it's your first time playing it, you're probably fucked. But once you know the locations of the spike balls and learn that it's best not to jump on the dry bones, you start to really get into the rhythm, and it makes for a fun time. Again, it's a bit mean, and dare I say trolly to those who are playing this for the first time, especially when the giant spiky ball comes in and you sort of just have to guess which path to take. And the fact that there's no checkpoint can add to the annoyance. But for what it is, yeah, it's actually not too bad.
My unicorn!
Okay, so I used the prestigious Super Mario Wiki to refresh my memory on these level designs, and looking at the map for 5-3, I just got bombarded with this. Damn, that is high. I wonder if Mario can breathe up there. Anyways, this one is pretty good. This first sliding section where you get to rush down this big mountain of ice is really fun, and while I'm generally not a fan of the ice physics in this game, I can definitely get behind something like this. I like this part with the 2 split paths, even if the one on top is clearly the better option because the snail corns are a fucking pain in the ass. What holds this level back for me is the fact that it's 100% ice, making some sections a bit annoying to platform through. And generally, I don't consider spamming ice physics everywhere to be good level design, but the level does make decently fun use of them, so I don't mind too much.
Whoa! That snail is fast!
5-B is basically the exact same level as 5-3, except it doesn't have a comically large hill at the start. Boo! Really, the order of these two doesn't matter since they're so thematically similar, but I do slightly prefer this one since the challenge with the snail corns is a bit more fair, and I like this P-Switch star coin. The constant gaps in the ground paired with the ice physics can be annoying, but I think the stage still works for what it is. I just hope Nintendo will bring back the snail corns for the next Mario Kart game.
Spike dildos.
World 6's tower is definitely more my speed compared to World 3's castle. It does still involve a bit of waiting around for openings from the spiky dicks. That was a sentence I just said. But having to jump up rather than run to the side suits this mechanic better in my opinion, making for fun segments where you gotta jump up before all the dicks close in. That was another thing I just said. And despite being near impossible to get to, I like this secret area because it reminds me of that one mini game in Mario Party 10. Anything that reminds me of Mario Party 10 is certified epic in my book.
Looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken.
6-2 is totally not a scrapped World 3 level that was just put into World 6 for some reason. Much like how At All Costs is totally not a love song from a previous draft that they shoehorned into the final movie anyway. I don't know why this mountain world has so many not mountain stages, but whatever, as long as it's fun, right? The gimmick of this one is rising and falling tide, and while it can slow down the gameplay just a bit, I think it still makes for some fairly interesting platforming and star coin placements. The last one especially is really satisfying to get. Since they have to account for both swimming as well as on-land platforming, some sections can feel a bit open and empty with not much of note going on. But I guess I can let it slide in this case. Pretty solid stuff.
Leave my mama alone, you bad man.
Like I said, I am a bit biased towards World 1 levels since I've played these about a billion times. But being as objective as I can possibly be, 1-Tower is not one of the best levels in the game. It is pretty short, and they don't do a lot of creative stuff with these moving platforms outside of the secret room. If they did more stuff like that in not just this level, but the entire game in general, I think it would definitely be more fondly remembered. As is though, it's short, sweet, blasting through the pipe is fun, and it gave us the epicest boss fight of all time.
I've been working on my sand bending.
2-4 is pretty good. I like the enemy placements, I like the star coins, I like how you get to go underground and the background looks like literal shit, I like hitting the switches to give the floor boners. Yeah, that's about it.
I'm a lonely Goomba, stuck between 2 pipes.
4-Castle is a level that offers a lot of variety compared to most of the other castles in this game, and it blends together pretty well. These swinging pendulums are fun, the thwomps are epic as always, and combining those pendulums with fireballs shooting up from the lava makes for a slightly tough but satisfying final stretch. But of course, I have to mention the holy boss fight against Giant Goomba. It honestly might be my favorite boss in the game, because having to get up high and ground pound him is more interesting than just jumping on him normally. Oh, and also, it's a giant Goomba, and Goombas are epic. Especially when they review Blue's Clues Blue's Alphabet Book.
2 words! La la!
4-Tower is very similar to its World 3 counterpart with all the fences you need to climb. Only this one has rising lava that you need to stay ahead of. Despite being a relatively minor change, however, I think this adds the necessary challenge that 3-Tower was lacking, adding extra tension as you try to climb as fast as you can, and especially if you're going for all the star coins. This still isn't an amazing level, mainly because I just don't think climbing these fences will ever be as fun as running around on land. But if we have to have these fence climbing levels, then this is definitely the way to do it. Although, I might prefer that one level with the moving fences from NSMB 2. Rare W for that game. World 5's Ghost House is... Wait, let me check. Yup, World 5's Ghost House is my favorite one in the game, and it barely ranks in the top half. Still a better batting average than World 3's levels, I suppose. This one is easily the standout of its archetype for me due to how it uses bruisers instead of just plain old boos you would usually expect. Not like they're hard to defeat or avoid or anything like that, but it's the thought that counts. And considering this is a much less common enemy, it's always nice to see levels based around these guys. This part with the platform that carries you up is a nice addition that makes it stand out from the other Ghost Houses as well. Overall, pretty good stuff, if easily the weaker bruiser-centered level in this game.
Piston. He did what?
Oh my god. They made a level with those thin, horizontally moving platforms that I actually enjoy. It took them up until World 8, but they finally did it. I knew they had it in them. Yeah, well, I'm still not a fan of platforming on these things. At least you're not over lava this time, and these are definitely much better suited for vertical platforming, with satisfying star coins to boot. 8-Tower still isn't anything amazing, but considering it's working with a mechanic that I do not like, it's wild how they managed to make something somewhat fun here. Not bad.
I am the Lord of Bones!
Man, all the other towers and castles in World 8 are really making 8-Towers 2 stick out for the piece of shit that it is. 8-Castle isn't anything mind-blowing, but it's another one that takes a mechanic I didn't like from a previous level, that now being these lifts on tracks, and makes something decently enjoyable. Why is this level more enjoyable than 7-1? I don't know. Maybe it's because there's a bit more room for error here despite the castle being filled with lava, and the stretches on the lifts themselves aren't as tediously long. Though I maybe could have done without this part here. I take back what I said earlier, these rotating shapes are annoying. Aside from that, however, yeah, I actually like this one. Go figure.
Don't you hit that, Funny! Don't you hit that!
5-2 is a pretty nice evolution of 1-2, upping the challenge a bit and adding in a few more enemies to spice up the gameplay. Even if I do ultimately prefer the simplicity of the World 1 level. Breaking as many bricks as possible in the opening section was fun as hell as a kid, and if I'm being honest, it still is to this day. I really like the use of spike tops throughout the entire stage, and the bats are fun to jump on as well, even if they can be a bit annoying in this one section. As can the ice physics in certain spots, but otherwise, this one is pretty enjoyable.
We call it hoppers.
2-5 is the level with what does the Mario Wiki call them? The block hoppers. And it's pretty fun, all things considered. As a kid, I always loved getting the Mega Mushroom and smashing through everything in this level. It's probably one of the best levels in the game in that regard. Otherwise though, these guys do make for fun obstacles, and the background blocks and fire snakes everywhere are a nice callback to Mario 3. The star coins are a bit annoying in this one, mainly because they involve waiting for the block hoppers to jump in the right place. But I do like the secret path that you can take towards the end that you access by sinking into quicksand. It's great to have a game that encourages sinking into quicksand. They should really put required elements behind that. Don't you agree, editor?
Expand.
Mushrooms.
5-A works much better for me than 5-4 did, mainly because I find this mushroom gimmick more fun, even if it relies a bit more on the sole obstacle being the bottomless pit beneath you. But hopping between these mushrooms that expand and contract is pretty satisfying, and the frequency at which they changed is just fast enough that it doesn't slow down the gameplay. A few sections are a bit long and lacking in obstacles other than falling down. It probably could have used a few more enemies here and there, but for the most part, it's a pretty good time.
Hey, the Wiggler segment ran away.
4-4 has Wigglers, and therefore it is peak. Well, not peak, it's still only in B tier, but you know what I mean. Bouncing on the Wigglers and pissing them off is fun, and the level design is pretty solid, if a little basic. But the level does redeem itself with that epic as shit secret room. Mega Mushroom for life. Get it because it's like for life, but the number 4, and this is 4-4. Do you get it? How many levels do we have left?
A nice, safe little world filled only with mushrooms.
Okay, I know I made fun of that giant ice slope from before, but get a load of this bad boy, jeez. I've always liked more open-ended and explorable levels in 2D platformers, and considering I already think mushroom levels are the awesomest thing ever, it should come as no surprise that I enjoy 7-4. I do wish there was a bit more to do here. It's another level that you can complete in like a minute if you know where to go, and it feels like there should be a bit more to discover beyond the secret exit, which is still satisfying to get to. But I guess the DS would explode or something if they tried to make the level any bigger, so whatever. Otherwise, it has mushrooms, spin blocks, and bouncing. Sounds like a banger to me. 1-2 is a cute nod to the classic similarly named underground levels of old. It's a bit simple in terms of level design, but that's excusable given it's only the second stage. And like I said, I'm biased towards the World 1 stages since I have the most nostalgia for these. But even besides that, collecting coins is fun, the seesaws are fun, the secret area is fun, chum is fun. It's not extraordinary, but it's fun. So as you saw in my Tropical Freeze ranking, one of my favorite levels in that game is Jelly Jamboree, mainly because bouncing on shit is the funnest platformer mechanic of all time. So it's no surprise that I like 1-5 quite a bit. Mushrooms are cool, bouncing is cool, combine them together, and you get a pretty fun stage. It is a bit harder to time your jumps in line with the mushrooms compared to Tropical Freeze, meaning the level isn't as satisfying to blast through, and this final section where the mushrooms are spaced further out can be a bit annoying if you miss a jump. But otherwise, a pretty fun level that you have to be insanely miserable to dislike. I mean, you're bouncing. Doesn't get much more fun than that.
What the hell is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas?
6-3 is a level that has literally nothing to do with the mountain world and makes you question why it wasn't in World 4 instead. I mean, I guess there are mountains behind the trees in the background, but you didn't notice that until I just brought it up to you. This one has a fairly compelling gimmick of there being pipes everywhere, and you alternating between platforming above ground and underground. Maybe I wish they did a bit more with it, as there are only 2 underground sections, both of which kind of feel the same, but they're both still fun, and the use of piranha plants everywhere makes this one satisfying to hop around. Plus, I can't hate a level that has coin coffer, I mean money bags, I guess. Why isn't this guy in Mario Kart World? 8-7 is all about the bros. You got fire bros, boomerang bros, dummy thick bros. Nothing works! Those, in addition to all the paratroopers and Koopas placed throughout the stage, make this one pretty fun to traverse, as there's a greater enemy variety compared to a lot of other levels in this game. And the different types of bros in your way make the star coins extra satisfying to collect. It's not a super special or difficult stage, but I really enjoy it, and think it's one of the better World 8 levels.
So, I heard you wanted some pipes cleaned, eh?
Man, 7-A frustrates me because it easily could have been a top 5 stage in this game. I mean, the Pipeworks maze is super cool, and this is the kind of creativity you don't really expect to see from the new Super Series. That alone bumps this level up at least 15 spots. But unfortunately, I'd be lying if I said I didn't find this pipe maze a little annoying to get through. It's still fun, but they definitely could have done more with this concept. Throw in all sorts of rooms with different enemies, have different colored pipes other than just green, have more pipes that shoot you all over the place, you know, stuff like that. As is, while pretty enjoyable, it feels a bit standard and one note, not really special enough to be placed this late in the game. It's good, but it could have been a lot more.
Going to arrest Platy?
5-Castle is a level that I was referring to earlier when I said that these conveyor belts work better with horizontal platforming rather than the pretty tedious vertical layout displayed in 6-Tower 2. This one has piranha plants and dry bones that are actually fun to avoid, and having most of the stage over a bottomless pit adds to the treachery rather than being annoying. I will say though, the second half of the level is not only weaker, but it's way easier too, making completing everything and getting to the boss feel a bit weird. Especially this part at the end, which is just running and jumping on a sheet of ice while you avoid some dry bones. It's not as interesting as it could have been given how strong the first half of the level is. It's still fun though, and this is still quite a good final level for World 5. Just don't try to play through it with Mini Mario, that is actual hell.
What's up? I'm Spike Man.
7-Tower is a really nice evolution of what we saw earlier in 1-Tower. Still a bit too easy and slight to be a top tier level in my opinion, which I guess just goes to show how difficult this game can get without crossing into annoying territory. I do like how much this level distinguishes itself as a late game level by just having spikes plastered everywhere, and since there are so many blocks moving in different directions, it gives the level a mechanical, clockwork-like feel, which I really enjoy, especially in this section where you need to know the directions of the blocks to progress upwards. Normally I would find this annoying, but for a level with a theme like this, I think it really fits. Of course, the Bowser Jr. boss has one of those annoying horizontal slabs, but you can win that fight in 2 seconds with the Fire Flower, so who gives a shit?
I'm gonna be the best swimmer, bitches!
8-2 is a great example of how to do a level that has swimming in it, but isn't just swimming. Separating the level into different rooms rather than just having you swim in a long straight line is a great change of pace, and the challenges they offer with the skeeters have just enough variety to keep the level fresh. It's a pretty fun time, especially if you're going for the star coins. Also, ouch! Mario must need some cream for his booty.
Sight! Launch the cannons!
7-5 is a nice combination of both the bullet bill and bob-omb stages we've previously seen in the game. It starts out simple enough, but once you get past the checkpoint, the difficulty and complexity amp up a bit. Not super challenging or anything, but it's pretty fun. I also like the emphasis put on the mini and mega mushrooms to get to the secret room or even the secret exit. It is pretty similar to 7-6, making me question why they put these stages back to back, but bullet bills are a much more compelling hazard than paratroopas, so I definitely prefer this one overall.
Winter is a grand old time.
5-1 is low-key iconic. Really, I'm noticing that I like a lot of the introductory levels in each world as they show off the setting while not being overly complex, and this one is no exception. I really like the snowy backdrop, although I wish they made a new music track instead of just reusing the World 1 theme. Otherwise though, I like this one quite a bit thanks to the snow spikes, yes that's what they're called, the satisfying star coins, and just for how fun it is to run around, outside of the big snow pools anyway. Fun stuff.
Hi, I'm Dory.
Like I said, something about the first level in each world is just so appealing to me, and 4-1 is another stage that I enjoy quite a bit. The use of scuttlebugs here is probably the best in the game, and I like how they combine it with the donut blocks later on too. Dory is still a little tedious to ride on, but that section is thankfully nowhere near as long or annoying as the one we saw in 4-6. Plus, everything around that manages to be a really nice introduction to the forest world.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
If you know what you're doing, you can complete 8-5 in about a minute. But that doesn't mean it isn't fun. I find the tilting platforms and rock ledges to be fun to jump between or zoom across, and it's super satisfying to avoid all the lava and potaboos. It is still oddly easy for being the first level in this final stretch of the game, but its short length always make it a joy to revisit.
It burns!
One Dash Castle is another one that's burned into my brain because of how many times I played it as a kid. I've always liked the tight ropes and how you can bounce on them, because once again, bouncing is the epicest thing ever. That pairs really well with making your way across the lava, and I like to focus on these moving platforms as well. That last star coin is cryptic as fuck, but I don't know, bouncing on the tightrope to get to it is fun, so shut up. Good stage, I like it.
Meteor smash!
8-8 is a great way to end off the main numbered stages in the game, providing probably the most treacherous gimmick of all with all this falling volcano debris, and I like how we get to see the eruption in the background at the start. It's also cool how they put in these bomb firework guys, who remind me of the ones from Mario Wonder now that I think about it. It's way more interesting than just putting in regular ass bombs like one of the later new games absolutely would have done. Thanks to the level focusing more on blocks that are vulnerable to the debris as you progress, it causes this one to just get more and more exciting, especially in the final stretch, and it makes for a damn good stage. But whoever thought it was a good idea to put a mini mushroom challenge in this of all levels was fucking sadistic. 2-Dash Castle is another one where I pretty much know the layout by heart, probably because you have to play it multiple times to unlock worlds 3 and 4. Pretty sure this is also one of the levels I had my sister beat for me back in the day, simply because I just could not beat Mummy Pokey with Mini Mario. I'm a pro gamer if you couldn't tell. Otherwise though, this one is really great, even by castle standards. I like how it starts out inside with your typical castle aesthetic, and then you go outside. Helps the level stick out even if it is just the same desert backdrop as every other level in this world. In addition, I like how the focus shifts from spike balls to bullet bills back to spike balls again. Both are some of the more compelling hazards this game has to offer, so combining them together makes for a damn fun castle to blast through.
Oh, it's no random island, you freaking baboons.
3-A is so much more interesting than literally all the pure swimming stages in this game, to the point where I question why World 3 didn't have more levels like it. Sure, it's not a beach level, you know, the theme of the world, but I don't care, at least it's actually fun. Much like 8-2, avoiding the bombs that the skeeters shit out is really satisfying paired with the swimming controls, and in this one, you also get more opportunities to jump on their pink asses. Plus, the barrels are fun to platform on as well. This one star coin that you need a mini or mega mushroom for is kinda stupid, but otherwise, this is a great stage that is definitely more my speed when it comes to water adjacent levels.
Pipes all clean!
While it's nice to have direct translations of the underground levels of old, 2-3 offers a super cool evolution of those kinds of levels. It changes up the aesthetic just enough to feel fresh, and is one of the levels that comes to mind for me when people cite this as being the most creative NSMB game. I mean, you don't get shit like this in you, do ya? Exploring this sewer is a lot of fun, and while it may not be the most complex maze layout, it definitely offers enough to stay engaging throughout. Navigating your way through the sections with the one-way panels is the kind of platforming variety I love to see, and the ground pounding on the manholes is a great way to make use of Mario's new moveset. I wish there were a few more piranha plants here and there to make the level feel a bit less empty, but that's my only real issue. Really great stuff.
Big wigglers, if you will.
What's better than a small wiggler? A big wiggler, of course. You could interpret 7-3 as shamelessly lazy level design. I mean, look at this map. It is literally just empty space against dildo mountains. But at the same time, I think it's near impossible not to like this one. Not only does it stand out thanks to Mr. Bigler over here, but his movement pattern makes him a joy to jump on, especially when you time your jumps properly. But of course, the highlight of this level is the line of stars you can chain together. Doing this makes you feel like a boss, and you can get an insane amount of coins during this, clearly serving as inspiration for the 3DS game. It makes the most out of this empty level design, and is always incredibly fun to revisit. Although, maybe it would have ranked higher if we actually got to see the Wiggler eat the Mega Mushroom.
Hey John, don't eat the mushroom.
4-2 has mushrooms, and they're purple this time, so we're already off to a good start. The way these mushrooms bend around is just so satisfying to me, and I find it way more interesting than the mushroom gimmicks we saw back in World 5. Sure, you can blast through most of the level without staying on the mushrooms for that long, but that thankfully means the level doesn't drag on either. It's short and sweet, and I always have a great time hopping on these purple and yellow mushrooms. Wait, purple and yellow?
A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
mushrooms.
As you're about to see, my favorite levels in World 6 are the ones that are actually mountain themed. I actually find this terrain pretty underrated, and it's a shame this world is populated with so many other miscellaneous themes, but it makes 6-4 shine all the more. I love its combination of both fire bars and climbing on mountain ledges. These two just fit so well together. The long horizontal ledges are fun to scoot across, as is the big section with a bunch of mini ledges. It's just a neat stage that makes me wish there were more similarly themed levels in this game. Also, I like the sound Mario makes when he's pulling himself up onto a ledge because it sounds like he's constipated.
An active volcano!
Wraparound levels are so damn cool, man, and 8-6 is an example of this concept being executed brilliantly. They make the most out of having you switch between both sides of the screen, and I've always loved the way they make use of that with the enemies too, like with all these Goombas coming out of the pipe here. Doing all this while having lava chasing you adds great tension, as you need to know where you're going at all times in order to stay ahead. It can be disorienting given how this is one of only 2 stages like this in the game, but that's what makes it all the more interesting to me, compared to having this just be an ordinary vertical stretch. They ran with this concept and made a peak level out of it. Absolute cinema.
There's sand everywhere.
Like I said, the introductory levels in each world usually hit for me, and 2-1 is up there as one of my absolute favorites. It is just so fun to pick away at the pokies with the fire flower or jump around them to grab star coins. It's a great level to blast through in as little time as possible, just pure platforming goodness. Though what puts it over the edge for me is the singular epic as shit image in the gallery for this level in the Mario Wiki. I mean, you can't compete with that.
Qualcomm punch!
Like I said before, bruisers are some of my absolute favorite enemies in this game, and always add some nice spice to the levels they're included in. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that 5-C is a definite winner for me. Bruisers breaking blocks is just so satisfying, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's the sound design or the fact that breaking stuff in general is just fun. But the level design is great too, offering a nice layout variety and this exciting final stretch where a bunch of bruisers chase you as a line of blocks poof into place. It's that slight pinch of creativity that I enjoy in this game, and is easily up there as one of my favorite levels. Showtime! 8-Mega Castle, or I guess 8-Bowser's Castle, because none of these other castles were his apparently, is a more than satisfying final gauntlet. It feels so much more grand and large than any other stage in this game, as large as you can get for a 2D platformer on the DS anyway. The fiery hazards are super satisfying to avoid, and the gimmick of flipping the entire stage feels like the most ambitious one yet in this game, which fits for the grand finale. As does the more maze-like layout of some of these rooms, you really have to know where you're going. And there's even a nice callback to the pick-a-path levels from Mario 1. Sure, everyone hates those levels, but it's cute to see them update something like that for the modern day. Modern as in 20 years ago. This is a really strong final challenge that ends the game with a bang, and I'll never forget the magical moment I beat it as a kid. Actually, no, that's not true. My sister also beat this one for me.
Welcome to Peak, a game about climbing mountains.
Much like 2-1, the best way to describe 6-1 is that it's just pure platforming goodness. The mountain aesthetic, the bullet bills, the bouncy music, it all blends together perfectly. Avoiding bullet bills or Koopas on ledges is a lot of fun, and they make great use of Mario's updated moveset in this one, giving you plenty of opportunities to wall jump. Doesn't sound like much, but in my opinion, this is the kind of level design that works wonders for Mario. Simple and straightforward, but so charming. Few stages capture that better than this one, and for that, I gotta rank it pretty high.
Bombs? You want it?
I don't think there's any denying that 4-5 is one of the standout levels in this game, and shows just how much it can do with simplicity compared to the safeness of the other new games. It reminds me of the structure of a Mario Wonder level actually, focusing on the function of an enemy and building a level around that. And since bombs are rarely seen in this game, an entire stage dedicated to them feels fresh. Positioning them to blow stuff up is super satisfying, especially hitting the ones above you or using them to get star coins. I like the drawbridges too, I think they fit in well and help the level stick out even more. It's a really enjoyable underground level, and I wish we saw this kind of simple innovation carried over into the rest of the series. Would have definitely helped the reception of those games nowadays at least. But regardless, this is a level I'll always enjoy playing.
Oh yeah, Mario, woohoo!
What could possibly go wrong? And
I'm gonna kill myself.
Okay, this is where my World 1 bias really comes into play, and some of you are probably gonna think I'm insane for this. And to that I say, you are completely right. I think 1-1 is an unironic S tier level and one of the best ones in the game. I'm sorry, I've played this level so many times that I feel an obligation to rank it this high. But even besides that, this is pretty much a perfect first stage. Good enemy placements, perfect introductions to how everything in the game works. It has the Mega Mushroom. Okay, no, that's why the stage is S tier. What other stage stage natively has the fucking Mega Mushroom. That's right, none of them. Smashing through everything is fun. Fuck you, Scott the Woz. How could you not appreciate the majesty of the Mega Mushroom? But seriously, this is everything I could possibly want out of a first stage, and I think it deserves to rank pretty high because of that. Argue with the wall. For those disappointed at how low a lot of the World 3 levels ranked in this list, I doubt there are very many of you, take solace in the fact that I think 3-B is an absolute S-tier stage. This is the kind of stage where if every level in the game matched this level of creativity, I don't think this game would get the bad rap it gets. I mean, there are pipes, and there's piranhas, and... okay, maybe it's not Mario Wonder levels of creativity or anything, but hey, pipes are cool, so shut up. Unironically though, the pipe and sky themes are a match made in heaven, and shooting/avoiding the piranha plants is a lot of fun. The level is flawlessly paced, the star coins are just where I like them, and it has the perfect amount of spice to make it stand out, yet also have a charming simplicity. I love it a lot, but not quite as much as... Mario #1! Okay, if you didn't think I was a crazy person before, you definitely are going to now. Because my #1 favorite New Super Mario Bros. DS level out of all 80 is... 1-3. Yup. This is the peak of the game. Why? Because it has mushrooms and spin blocks, and I like mushrooms and spin blocks, as I've established by now. The platforming is fun, the star coin placements are perfect, and the vibe of the level is bouncy and colorful. I like 1-3, okay? And before you accuse me of only ranking this stage at #1 because I liked it when I was 7, let me tell you that I have a very personal connection to this level. Way back when, during summer vacation, I met the most beautiful girl in the world. We fell in love the minute our eyes met and discussed just how fucking amazing 1-3 is. We made a promise to each other that we would stay together forever and live happily ever after, far away from all the tyranny of the world. But then one day, she disappeared without a trace, and I never saw her again. 1-3 is all I have left of her, the only thing I can remember her by. And maybe, just maybe, if I rank it at #1 and she sees this video, she'll be able to find me and we'll finally get to be in each other's arms once again and at long last, be happy. That's all 100% true, I totally did not make it up. Anyways, yeah, NSMB DS is a fun game, and I had a great time revisiting it and ranking all the levels. Happy Valentine's Day or whatever. I don't know, man, just cut it the funny song number. Better in Mario, better in Mario, better in Mario, better in Mario. I'm up through the warp pipe, I jump on the Goomba. Oh, no. Mama Mia, oh shit, I gotta take a hit. Bowser has got Peach. Princess. I dare you, come on, let's go. Gonna get the key and make a mid-movie. When you say yeah, I say who. When Nintendo, all they wanna do is sue. Mushroom, my brother is Luigi, and now I am a BB. Junior drives me crazy. Koopa, gotta stomp on them to save Princess Peach. Cause we both know we're better in Mario.